Like, did you reevaluate a little?
I was like, I knew it would be a lot, but I didn't expect it to be an entire fucking year.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to a Candid Conversation with. My name is Breezeby, and we are out of Speedrunner month. I had a whole month we were talking to speedrunners, but I decided 1 month wasn't enough, and this particular speedrunner reached out to me, and I was more than happy to do this episode. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Who are you, and what do you do?
Hello, my screen name is CovertMuffin. I am probably best known for performing on the GDQ stage, but at this point, over the past, 7-ish, 8 years, I have performed in over 50 settings.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, so I do a lot of like fundraising during like marathons. I do tournaments. I do a lot of casting for sort of like tournaments in that regard for like speedrunning. I've done many community events, online marathons, in-person marathons. Yeah, I've done a lot.
That's a lot. So what was the first, there's a lot to unpack there, and we're going to hopefully get to it all. What was the first marathon that you did? How did you find speedrunning? Like, take me back to the beginning, like baby Covert finding speedrunning and getting into this.
Yeah, so it's I mean, I could talk about this. I'm the type of we were talking about this right before we started this VOD, and we're both the type of people that can just like continuously talk about stuff that we love and like stuff like that. And so like speedrunning and video gaming in general, I'm definitely there. I've been sort of ingrained in gaming since I was a very small child. And it's what I grew up with. And so, in particular, I fell in love with a streamer whose screen name is Day9TV.
Oh, I know Day9.
Yeah. So he became famous as a professional StarCraft Brood War player, as well as a StarCraft 2 caster. And so, in particular, he made the series known as Newbie Tuesday, which, once again, I could talk about for hours. But basically, it just like was trying to get people into playing StarCraft 2 because it's an incredibly complex game, and it feels terrible to play it until you master like 11 different aspects of the game. And so the Newbie Tuesday series that he did and Fun Day Monday were sort of geared at like getting people playing the game and having fun, but also like enjoying the process of learning and improving. And so I had always like sort of played video games like that and transitioned well into speedrunning. But honestly, that's sort of how I got started in speedrunning, was just like realizing that I could be proud of my efforts in gaming and like that it was something to work at and was something to enjoy the process. And then traditional story of I started watching GDQ since 2011, loved the marathon. I was completely mysticized by it because I didn't understand sort of the science of video gaming that was going on there. And then in 2015, in September, I started speedrunning, and I forget who the interview was with, but somebody got asked the question, how do you get started in speedrunning? And they were like, well, just play a game that you enjoy. Just play it again with a timer. That's it. That's all you have to do to qualify as a speedrunner. So very, very, very long story, very, very short. I just tried out a game that I'd already punched in thousands of hours in casually, which was Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, and found the Discord for that, found the leaderboard, joined up with about 10 other amazing people. And since then, I haven't turned back. And the first marathon I performed for was doing commentary for Jedi Knight Academy as Sajiki, who really helped me get into speedrunning. Ran it for Shots Fired, which is an online marathon that I just found out I got accepted for today again.
Yay!
And then the next GDQ that came up, right? So September. So the first GDQ, SGDQ 2016 that I could apply for, I applied for, I got accepted. And then after I performed there, the producer was like, that was good. That was good. And then I haven't turned back since.
That's awesome. And you are, at least from my memory, you are one of the like very charismatic staples of GDQ.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like we always like, I started watching in 2018, I think. We always knew who CovertMuffin was, right? We always knew like an Eternal Enigma, like all these people that we consider very much staples. Yeah, it was just funny that you were always one of the people who were like, he's a really good performer, and like you
Oh,
can
thank
tell,
you.
and a good speedrunner too. And I'm wondering,
Appreciate that.
do you do anything in your life that has contributed to you being a good performer, and just you just like really exude like this energy of like positivity, and like I know what I'm talking about, and I'm just curious how you grew up and how you've developed that.
Uh, so I had a very strict mother.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, very, very strict. And so we were pushed really hard academically. We were required to do after school activities, just like all of this, like very, very, very intensity. Like my senior year of high school, I didn't have a lunch period because I wanted to do like music and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so I guess I'm a science person in general. I love math. I love chemistry. I majored in chemistry. I almost triple majored in chemistry, math, and physics in
Oh my
college.
god.
I just like I love the stuff that I enjoy, and so that's like I apologize if that sounded like condescending or anything. It's like
No.
it wasn't that, but that like definitely was because of my mother. And I remember when I was going into high school and like my mom was imposing all these rules about all these extra things that I had to step up to the plate for. And I asked her, like, what should I do for like a club? What should I take for classes? And she told me a very simple sentence. And it was, you should just do what's fun for you, right? Like I know you're gonna work hard and you just have to apply yourself. And that was it. And so like from the childhood, that sentence always stuck with me. Unfortunately, that meant that I now have a crap sleep schedule because I pulled a shit ton of all nighters in high school and college from over applying myself
Yeah.
and yada yada yada. But in all honesty, that was like a massive driving force for my work ethic. And if there was one thing about me that really has helped me, as you mentioned, like with the whole seeming like charismatic and like well spoken and confident and stuff like that, it was being deathly shy of every single person that I ever met and having a shit ton of social anxiety. And
Uh-huh.
then also having a learning disability in reading, writing, and phonetics, and almost being held back a year because I was so bad
Wow.
at speaking and reading. But then they also want to put me a year ahead in elementary school because like math and science I was like completely fine with. So hooked on phonics. That's why I'm a good performer.
The reason that CovertMuffin is a good performer is Hooked on Phonics.
Yep.
That's the
Yeah, you heard
best
it here.
advertisement for that I've
Yeah.
ever heard. Does Hooked on Phonics still exist? Like, do they still
I
have
have
it?
no idea. I have no idea. But yeah, no, special education like saved my life. I'm
That's
not gonna beat around
awesome.
the bush. Yeah. I have like a presidential award in everything from like 8th grade for getting caught up
Oh my god, that's
with
so
like
cool.
yeah, yeah. It was really bad for applying to college because, like, I have this weird form of like either dyslexia or ADHD. I no idea. But basically, if I read a page of text once, or no, excuse me, if an average person read a page of text once, they would retain the same amount of information as me if I were to read that same page 6 times over. Uh,
Oh.
yeah, so, like, my brain has a really I don't know if it's so the way they explained it to me was it was a pathway error, so it's, like, something between the eyes and the brain. So the way I survived, like, high school English, for instance, is that they ask a lot of, like, leading questions, and so I was able to sort of insinuate and empathize with, like, the characters and the stories and stuff like that, and, like, draw those details because of the way the questions were asking, even though I didn't retain
Right.
the amount of information. And I will just say the average person, right? So like the bar for average is like sort of a lot lower than what would be for like a college somebody applying to college and getting accepted and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if I were to be to like an intellectual or like somebody who's really good at reading, I would have to read a page like 20, 30 times to
Holy
retain the same.
cow.
Yeah. So same thing with phonetics and like stuff like that, which is sort of the pronunciation of words and stuff. And there's still words that like trip me up. Like similarly, I have to always slow
That's a
down to
tough
speak.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like, geez, it's so hard to explain unless somebody also
Yeah.
uh,
Has experienced
suffers
it.
from that cognitive dissonance. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like
Practice.
the the way you were raised in that drive to like do really, really well, do you think that has played into being a successful speedrunner and like having that determination to be good at something?
Um, I think so for sure. And that's sort of on the back end of things. Like subconsciously, I'm just more somebody who grinds into things for sure. But really, for me, I think my main motivation with speedrunning is it kind of evolved over the years. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely started off with like me doing the same thing I was always doing with video gaming, which is just grinding in, figuring out mechanics and how to sort of optimize play.
That's
Which
a very
I
science brain thing of you.
yes, totally, totally, yeah. And that honestly doesn't have to like proceed into me getting those results like from myself, but just like understanding a how to reach that point, and then b figuring out aspects of like games is just always very very fun.
Yeah.
Like I am a competent gamer in that way that if I just pick up X game, I should be able to play it successfully. But like in the same light, it really is at the end of the day that I just love diving diving into video games. That's it.
Yeah.
But I guess over the years, it's really sort of now turned into more like the daunting aspect of CovertMuffin. Because like before I came up with the screen name CovertMuffin, I never wanted to get recognized, right? I don't like spotlight. I don't like being in the limelight and like stuff like that. And so I'm like blushing now just like talking about this, but like it really is a true aspect that I do have. Like I'm very shy by nature. I'm terrified of people. Like this is perfect for me. One on one I can do, but still if I go into like groups of people, I can't. I can't do it. I can't
Yeah.
like talk to people. It's really rough. But really now, yeah, like the daunting aspect of the name Covert Muffin, right? Like I have been successful performing over 10 GDQs, right? 50 marathon and like event performances, and raised a lot of money as a host, like on the mic and stuff for various events. And so now it's sort of beyond me, but I want to keep contributing, right? And so now it's just not my love for diving into video games or really exploring them, but I do feel almost like an obligation to continue to apply, continue to work, continue to contribute, because I do have this platform, I do have this, I don't know, power to be able to help people in need,
Yeah.
and that really drives me.
That's awesome. Have you had people come up to you and be like, you've inspired me to start speedrunning?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still really weird every single time.
You
Like
must
when you're
feel
like,
nice about that though. Like that must feel good.
it does feel good in a sense. It's also kind of terrifying
Yeah.
because like when I'm up on stage, I'm not thinking. I'm blushing again, but like I'm not really like thinking incredibly hard like about that sort of impact that I can have on people. But I do like every time I get on stage, I have like two goals because I am incredibly self-critical and very hard on myself. So every performance feels like absolute shit after I walk off the stage.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Relatable.
yeah, yeah. But so the way I get over that is I set two very hard goals so that when I go back and I force myself to rationally go over the performance, um, then I will ask myself, did I meet these goals? And the first one is that I want to be able to showcase that I love speedrunning and I love these games that I'm playing. And then the second thing is that I want to either be able to showcase or explain why the thing I'm doing is either mechanically complex or it's interesting. And so I put a lot of work into trying to hit those goals every single time I go up on stage.
That's such a good idea though, to set those goals for yourself when you know
Yeah,
that's the
really
type of
helps.
brain you have, because I can see it being overwhelming to get up on stage. Number one, just get up on stage in front of all those people. You're trying to raise money, and there are so many different aspects of it that you want to do well, and not all of
Yeah,
those are going to happen. So I feel like you have two very reasonable goals.
yeah. Because it's funny, right? Because as I mentioned, social anxiety, I'm super shy, but I also have really bad stage fright. Like I remember,
Really?
yeah, I went up to do like this poetry competition, and like stuff like that with like reciting poetry. And I went up on stage and I just started crying, and I was just like, "I'm sorry, I can't do this."
Oh no. When was How old were you? I need to ask.
I was 16 years old,
Oh, that's
17,
so
16.
terrifying at that age too. It's terrifying at this
Yeah.
age. Every time I go to
Yeah,
host a
totally.
GDQ, like
Oh, yeah.
I have to take a Xanax. Like I am literally just up here for like a full 2 days before my shift.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I go pass out for like 5 hours. Like I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
that. And it's usually just me sitting at my computer, but I just know there are people out there. So like I can't imagine getting up and doing a speed run that is technically
Yeah.
advanced in front of all those people, especially live. Like I just went to my first live GDQ last summer and I was
It's amazing.
like, yeah, it was great. And I was like, this would be intimidating. And it
Yeah,
was,
yeah.
just you did it though. You've done it
Thank you.
many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah, I wish I could say that, like, doing this for the past, like, what, 8 years has, like, really helped, but it hasn't.
No, I feel like
It really
it's
hasn't.
just still nerve-wracking.
Yeah, like, my hands, if next time you watch me perform, just watch my mouse cursor if it's on screen, and you'll just see it shaking. And so, like, my hands are always shaking for the first, like, 15, 20 minutes of every
Yeah.
performance. And so, because of that, like, I'm very self-critical and very hard on myself, like, to a cruel sense as well. Like, it's
Yeah.
very unfair. It's not rational, to a lot of degrees. And so, like, it's clearly not gonna be a goal for me to have a good speed run if my hands are fucking shaking for,
Yeah.
like, the first half of the run, right?
Yep.
So, like, that's why, like, setting those very discrete goals with the performance itself helped. And I guess, like, a tertiary goal that isn't really a main focus, but I do try and raise as much money for charity, which is why I like come up with these elaborate skits and like stuff like that for all my performances.
And people
Yeah,
seem to enjoy those and anticipate
yeah,
those. I know
yeah, yeah.
there are a couple other people like BT does his whole like
Yes,
glitch out
yeah,
the game and I remember talking to
amazing
him.
performer.
Oh my god. So and he's another person that's very shy. And I think it's just funny to
Yeah,
see you
yeah.
guys turn it on and be like, "Oh, I'm a really shy person. Like I really am socially anxious, blah blah blah." And then turn it on and be some of the best performers for GDQ, which I think is so cool.
Wow, thank you. That's very flattering.
You said you two were friends. How did
Yes.
I know we just talked about you and you
No, no,
inspiring
I know where you're
people.
going.
I just want to know how you guys met. Like how do you know other people in the community? Is it is it a good story?
It's funny because it ties into everything we've been talking about.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so my first GDQ, 2016, that I went to, I knew nobody. I knew absolutely nobody, and as I mentioned, fucking terrified of people, right? So, did I hang out with anybody at SGDQ? No, like, of course not,
Yeah.
right? Like, I didn't have any sort of like segue or any confidence or any desire to give myself an anxiety attack by like introducing myself to like other people. I was just there to perform. Fortunately, there were some other Star Wars speedrunners, like
Hmm.
Rip Chip did Dark Forces right before my run, and then Piper Isalim was it? No, it was Glassnonk. It was Glassnonk did KOTOR immediately after my run, Knights of the Old Republic. Um, so like I had them there to like sit on my couch and stuff like that, but I didn't hang out with them or anything after that. And the main reason for this was because everybody who ran Jedi Knight Academy besides me was in Europe.
Oh my gosh, that makes it hard.
Yeah, so no community presence or anything like that to like help me rope in, which is usually how people meet people at GDQs. They just know people from speedrun communities and hang out, like go out to like dinner with each other, go get meals and stuff like that. It's very warm and very welcoming atmosphere, unless you're terrified of people and you don't know anybody at the event. Um, so after that, Sajiki brought me into a friend group Discord known as SpeedFam, and mostly European people once again. But Saint Million, Sajiki knew just I don't even know. I think just through SpeedFam. And so at SGDQ 2017, my second GDQ I ever went to, where I ran Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast. Sajiki didn't tell me about this, but he just told Saint Million that he needs to invite me, CovertMuffin, to everything. So if he like goes out for a meal, he's hanging out
Oh.
in the hotel room. Yeah, and he did that. So like I fucking love Saint. Like I'm still really good friends with him. That reminds me I need to DM him because he asked me how I was doing recently. I just forgot to respond.
It's the ADHD brain. I get it. I get it.
ADHD brain. Yeah. And then that's how I met BT. And so just hanging out in a hotel room, drinking some brews, and we just hung out and chilled and chat, and we've been friends since. Yeah,
I love that.
that's basically it. Yeah, yeah. But I love BT so much. He's a real softie. Like he
Yes,
seems like very stoic
he
on
does.
the outside and intimidating because of that. But no, he's like one of the most lovely people ever. I just absolutely love the guy to death. He's
Yes, and
amazing.
also total derail because you just
Mhm.
mentioned brews. You're drinking a beer. I'm
Yep.
supposed to be drinking my beer, and I haven't been. You are a beer drinker. You said
I
specifically
am, yeah.
that you love speedrunning. We should talk about speedrunning. But then you also mentioned beer. So like,
Sure.
what are you drinking tonight? Let's do a little beer review.
Yeah, sure. So, got started early with like craft beers in general when I was younger. My older brother and my older sister, especially, like took charge in that regard. But tonight I am drinking a New Belgium Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA.
Yes, we
Uh,
were just introduced to those like fairly recently, I think.
it's good. It's very boozy, so you have to like be careful with them. But
Hmm.
I love IPAs to death. They're so good. They're definitely my favorites.
And see, I'm
Yeah.
the exact opposite.
Oh,
I
okay.
hate IPAs. I haven't gotten there. I just like can't deal with how hoppy they are. So
Yeah.
I have like a little bitch ale. I have an Ellicottville, a blueberry. We love the blueberry
Oh,
flavors.
blueberry's so good with ales.
It
Like,
is.
if you've never tried this, people who are watching on YouTube, just get a pale ale and just drop some blueberries in there. Let it sit for a few minutes, and
I've
it is
never done that.
delicious.
Oh,
It's so good.
I'm
It's
gonna
so
have to
good.
try that next time. See,
Yeah.
I don't have any in the house right now, but I usually am a sours person. Like, I want my
Ooh,
beer to
yeah.
drink, like, to taste as much like juice as possible.
Yeah,
And
sure,
so
totally.
that's like anything with fruit in it is my go to. Have you
Yeah.
ever brewed your own beer?
No, my brother has a lot.
Ooh.
Um, I think that's also a bit of the ADHD brain where it's just like, I would love to do this. Like
Yeah.
I love to cook, I love to bake, but like I've just never gone on that side of the yeast spectrum. So
The,
maybe
ye-
someday, but like
the
uh
yeast spectrum.
yep.
I love that. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Maybe one of these days, but honestly, probably not.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's a lot of work. Have you? I mean, you've
It
seen your brother do it, so like you know. But it's like that's time. That's time that like I don't personally have to just like
yeah.
invest. You're right. Baking and cooking is easier. Is there something in particular you're like I'm so good at baking that, or I'm so good at cooking that?
Um I don't really know. I guess the dishes, because I like to cook for my friends and stuff. I did a lot before I had to move, but like the thing that I guess I get the most compliments about are pizzas that I make. I make a lot of like specialty pizzas. So like
Ooh,
make the dough from scratch and then the ingredients and like stuff like that.
hell
And
yeah.
yeah, I like to experiment a lot with like science person likes to experiment. What? Uh, but yeah, no, I so like for instance, one of my favorite pizzas that I do is I love really spicy food as well.
Mm.
So I make like a my own chili oil and stuff like that from scratch. So I don't know. I'll try not to talk about this for many minutes, even though I could. But like, so basically, you can make a chili oil with like dried chilies, and so I have like 100K Scoville like Thai chilies, and so I make a chili oil out of that, and that's what I use sort of as the base sauce with like a barbecue sauce as well with it, and
Oh,
then very thinly sliced potatoes, which add a little bit of a sweet aspect to it, which is weird, but it's like it works. And then bacon, steak, uh, onions that you reduce so that they get like really brown and caramelized. And yeah, I think that's my favorite. And then a very sharp cheddar, like very aggressive
oh my
cheddar
god.
cheese as the cheese that you end up using. And then I infuse the dough itself with a herb mixture that goes
Shut up. That sounds so good. I'm coming over to your house for pizza.
yeah,
That
I'll make
sounds
you pizza.
great.
Make GDQ. Let's make pizzas.
Yeah, yeah,
That'll be fun.
yeah. In the hotel room, we just get out a little like easy bake oven. That's what we need to do. Is I have
That's
an
what we
easy
need.
bake
Yeah,
oven. I'm gonna bring
yeah.
it on the plane with
That's a
me,
strat.
and then we'll
You're
make.
just sitting there in the airplane chair,
Yeah, they had to like fully inspect it to make sure it's not an easy bake bomb. But I'm like, no, I just like told someone I would make pizza in this. I don't know. Well, good. Okay. That sounds amazing. You would do really well here in New York because like we're all about pizza here.
Ooh, yeah.
So we have a lot of specialty places, but like you would do
Mm.
particularly well. What do you do? You don't have to answer this. This is super personal, but like, what do you do for a living?
I'd rather not talk too much about my
Sure.
work life, but I can just sort of briefly say that in general, I'm sort of a consultant in like science things.
Cool.
So in the past, for instance, a multi-year sort of not like a contract, but they just kept bringing me on board. Is I helped make standardized tests suck less, and just sort of like checked out the science for that. So I was involved all the way from writing problems and sort of thematic things for the problems to sort of fit in, working and consulting with various states with their departments of education to find out exactly what would be best for them and their students, and then doing stuff such as revisions, setting up sort of the scoring and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. And
That's
so
super cool.
yeah, so I did that for a while, but besides that, just I take it as I can with like consulting, and then I stream. But I don't really stream professionally. I'm not a Twitch partner or anything like that. I do have like 23,000 followers on Twitch, but that's just mostly because of like GDQ performances.
Yeah. How often do you stream? You've been streaming how long?
I will. How long have I been streaming? Since 20. I start doing that 2013, 2014, somewhere around then
Oh
is when I
wow.
started streaming. So even before I started speedrunning, but that was mostly just for like fun community events, taking part in like competitions and stuff for like StarCraft 2, like minor things, nothing professional level. But and then yeah, so like mostly what I stream is just like speedrunning stuff. Or if I play a game casually, like I do like strategy, deck builder, roguelikes such as Slay the Spire and stuff like that
That's a
from
good
time to
one.
time. Yeah.
That's awesome. What is your current favorite speedrun game? Because you run quite a few.
Oh. Yeah, see, I get this question a lot, and I give the same sort of unfortunate answer each and every time where I don't really have a favorite game. It's just sort of I sort of decide what I do with like getting ready for marathon performances in all honesty at this
Sure.
point. 'Cause I perform a lot, so usually I'm balancing 2 to 3 different speed games. Like today, they just announced that GDQ Submission Week is starting next week. So I've just been sort of like all day today. I've just been working on submission videos and like stuff like that and derusting like 3 to 4 different games. But if I had to pick a favorite speed game, like in the moment or like of all time, I guess I would have to go with the one that I've put in the most number of hours into, which is Ori and the Blind Forest Randomizer. I have over 4,000 hours into that game itself.
Wow.
Um, but the game that I've played the most, it like including doing things like sort of esports type things with like professional competitions, as well as doing various like group like guild and clan related stuff and multiplayer, and then playing it casually single player, and then also speedrunning it. I have just about 1 year, almost exactly, in the number of hours in Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. So
1 year.
yeah, so if I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, I didn't bathe, I didn't go to the bathroom or anything like that, I just sat at a computer for a year straight. That's how many hours I have in Jedi Knight Academy.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
we calculated it out on stream recently, and that was like
were,
very fun.
were you sitting there like, oh my god? Like, did you
Oh my
reevaluate a little?
I was like, I knew it would be a lot, but I didn't expect it to be an entire fucking year.
Was
It was,
everyone else on
yeah.
stream just like, that's a long time?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of holy shit, Muffin. Like what? What? Like we knew you like speedrunning and gaming, but one game like a year?
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. But like also
Yeah.
very impressive to want to play something for that long and to be able to just keep coming back to it and finding new things that you enjoy about it is
Really.
really cool. Do you feel like there is one particular thing about speedrunning that keeps you coming back to it and keeps you interested?
Community. Like easiest answer of my life right there. Just that one word, community, is just like so impactful. It's just like I'm almost tearing up just like thinking about this, but it's like it's really it's how do I say this? I've been in a lot of gaming communities and I've played many games at an incredibly high level. I was top 0.2% in the United States of America in StarCraft 2 for a time. I was like one of the best like duelists in Jedi Knight Academy and like Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast like 14 years ago. I like there's so many different communities that I've been in that I just played at a high level. And like Dota All Stars, I was in like a lot of different like private leagues and I did like master classes and stuff like that for like pro teams and like stuff like that. And so like the one thing about all of those is that they have incredibly like toxic and like very cruel elements and like people who are just really terrible to each other and it's awful. But in like speedrunning you hardly ever see that. Like it's a big deal whenever like a story like that crops up and then everybody pounces in and like
Oh
protects each
yeah.
other and like it, I'm just blown away. Like the community in speedrunning in particular has just always just been so welcoming and so awesome with me. Especially because I love like optimizing stuff and like I'm really like confident in that way that and like competent that I know how to like go at a video game and like dive in and just like collaborating, right? So collaborating with like-minded individuals with that stuff who want to like tackle speedrunning in that way as well has just been an amazing experience for me. And then like putting on tournaments and stuff and like supporting each other and like casting like after each match in those tournaments like people are just like laughing with each other and just like joking about all the terrible shit that like went on and stuff like that. But it's like it's never mean to each other. It's just
No.
always like just fun and like very supportive. And it's it's hard to like get away from that because it's just it's so amazing. And like speedrunning as well is just like so multiverse, right? So when people see me up on stage, that's it. That is it. But that's just like sort of the shallow, shimmering surface that they get to look at before they dive deep into the ocean of speedrunning. There's a million different things, right? So like many people who speedrun never submit to a leaderboard. It's just it's wild. It's so I don't know. It's hard to explain in such a short
Yeah.
compact thing. But yeah, the community just keeps bringing me back. And then, I mean, of course, all these charity events and stuff like that really motivates me, especially to work hard on performances. Like I've done events for like friends and stuff like that who wanted to do something for their stream, and that's like really fun. But like really, that charity element makes me want to work even harder just to see how much of an impact that I can have and how much I can support the community, contribute to it in that way because not everybody is like me and wants to go up on stage and try and do that. Yeah.
It's it's almost addictive, especially the charity portion of it, right?
Mhm.
Because you see a lot of people who are not speedrunners, right? I'm not technically a speedrunner. I have hosted, I've volunteered, I have done many different things with GDQ in particular. And you
Have you ever played a
find
game twice?
yes, I have. Is that speedrunning?
Then technically you are a speedrunner because when you play a game a second time, you'll just notice you do things better or you do things faster, more efficiently, right? So
Okay.
if you do the same exact playthrough completion percent for your second playthrough, you'll just notice it's just faster. So congratulations, that's a personal best, right?
Is
So it takes
so
very little to be
like you
consistent.
could say anyone could be a speedrunner. Is that your
Yeah,
philosophy?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think that is something that I've been working against, especially sort of that hierarchical sort of status within like speedrunning of two different factions. One is that sort of the qualification aspect with being allowed to sort of contribute to a community. Uh, requires you to like really participate in like a leaderboard sense and stuff like that. And then the second thing is the over glorification of people who have world records. Because in reality, having world record doesn't mean you're the best speedrunner, but that is a very common misconception. That the world record holder is the person who is the best at the video game, and that is something to be coveted in order to have that title or that clout. And in reality, to 99.9% of speedrunners, world record means shit to them. They don't care at all. They literally don't care. And then the second thing is that um really sort of pushing for a world record, that is also a very small percentile of people in a speedrunning community. You may only have, like, if you have 100 people, there may only be 3 to 4 people who are actually actively vying to try and compete in that sense. Like leaderboards, I could talk about leaderboards and why I really dislike them for many hours, but I'll just sort of leave it at that. And that, like, my philosophy is that speedrunning communities, should be inclusive, so they should be very welcoming to new people, and not try and gatekeep in sort of a light of like belonging to a community. And then the second thing is, yeah, it's like it takes very little to qualify as a speedrunner. Somebody could do a first time playthrough of a game and put a timer up and be like, I'm speedrunning, right? It's a blind speedrun, right? There's classifications for that. And there are people who race those, right? Like dumb games that are like really bad and really buggy
Oh,
that
those are the
nobody has ever played
best.
before. Yeah, yeah. And then they just do blind races, right? That's speedrunning as well. So hell, first time playthrough automatically qualifies you to be a speedrunner.
I like
Uh,
that philosophy. That's
yeah,
very welcoming and inclusive, like you said. That's, I feel, how every community should be. And most of the communities I think I've interacted with have been like that, right? Where they're
yeah,
like,
totally.
speedrunners are so excited to show you their game and be like, let me show
Yeah.
you this glitch. Like, let's do this. I like my first hosting shift was with Mirror's Edge speedrunners, and we became fast friends after that.
Ooh,
And they
yeah,
immediately
man.
were like, all right, we're going to show you how to, like, one of the most
Yes.
technically complex games ever. They were like, let me show you how to run this game. Like, speedrunners are so excited to show you their game. And I think that's very wholesome that you all
It's
really
so
want
true.
to just share. And I think that's so cool. It's like recruiting. Every time there's a GDQ, it's like everyone wants to
Yeah.
recruit and like build the community. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, totally. Like, so whenever if somebody gets the confidence to come up to me at a GD, come on, like
I
just
know what you
saying that
mean
feels
though.
so fucking weird.
I know, I
Yeah,
know what you mean though.
but like, I mean, totally, it's a thing. Like, I mean, I was terrified to walk up to people in my first GDQ, right? And so,
Yeah.
like, if somebody comes up to me, I'm like, oh, hey, it's really nice to meet you. And then be like, do you speedrun? Like, my first question is, have you speedrun? And then if not, all right, can I convince you to try it out sometime? And so more often than not, people are like, no, I've never speedrun, but they just are there at a GDQ to like watch these performances and like help contribute in the audience and like stuff like that. And so I am happy to say I have convinced at least half a dozen people who did not speedrun now to then speedrun at a GDQ. Like I've gotten like DMs on Discord and stuff being like, I tried it out, I did it, Muffin. It's like, yeah, fuck yeah,
Yay!
good
That's
you.
awesome.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's funny you say the confidence to come up to you, because that
God,
is,
such a
that's,
weird.
I know it sounds silly, but like to a lot of people, and before I was volunteering and in the community actively, like speedrunners do feel a little bit like celebrities when you have an event that big and you see them just like doing this thing, like, especially in the gaming community where like
Mm,
gaming is such a valuable like thing to so many people, so many of us that grew up like attached to games, and it's very much ingrained in our personality. To see someone
yeah,
playing a
totally.
game that you love and be really good at it
Mm,
is like, oh my gosh, this person's so cool. And it's
yeah,
totally
totally.
like that celebrity mindset when you go to a GDQ. It's interesting, but like very welcoming. I've never seen someone be like, don't talk to me. Like,
Oh yeah, no, yeah. And the best part is like if you actually go up to like Spike Vegeta or something like that,
yeah,
they are exactly as they appear, right? Like I am this way as well in person, unless I like my introvert batteries run out. Then I do get resting bitch face. I'm like, just stay away from me. But yeah, no, totally. Like this is why I love volunteering for check-in desks. I love being over the top and being like, welcome to GDQ. Like how's it going? It's just like and doing like funny things like over the rules and stuff like that. Because GDQ does take a lot of pride in like setting really uh direct and intense rules to keep their attendees safe and make sure that people are doing what they need to do, right? So like you must be wearing your badge at all times in every single event space, and it must be on the outside of your clothing so that they can see it. The lanyard is not enough; they must see the badge, right? And so I always love doing like a dealio spielio,
I like
is
that.
is what I call it, and being a bit over the top, and it helps people relax and like stuff like that because it is like very nerve wracking, especially when you first get to the event.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Coming in, actually my first in person was my first as staff, and I was like,
Wow.
It was crazy. And everyone was right off the bat so welcoming. And I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
that immediately sets the tone of like, this is going to be a great week and these are going to be good people and I am safe
Yeah.
here. And that's the coolest thing I've found about GDQ and speedrunning in general is it feels very safe. Like you said, non-toxic, if you will.
Yeah, I love the staff. Everybody is such a sweetheart, and like, oh god, it's so funny. So I really took off because of like GDQs and like doing good performances and getting like really good reviews and really good reception and stuff like that. And like the funniest thing happened because like my first run was good. It was at like a 3 a.m. time slot, but I still did a good job. And the producer was like, "Yeah, that was great." And then my second one at SGDQ 2017 was really where I took off with the Outcast performance. That was the whole spaceman meme and like stuff like that. And I remember like walking off stage with like Saint in them, and there was this person in a wheelchair, like very very kind individual. She's like, "That was really good," and I was like, "Wow, thank you." She's like, "No, you don't understand. That was really good." And later on, I became friends with this person, and I found out later she was like the head of all of the volunteers
Oh my
and like
gosh.
staff on site. Yeah, yeah, and I didn't know it at the time, and so I was just like nonchalant going up to them, being like, "Oh, hey, it's great to see you. Like, how's it going?" And she'd be like, "Oh, it's great. Are you doing a run?" And yeah, but that is the entire staff, right? It's like you don't
There's no
nobody
ego.
yeah, no ego, no clout, no nothing. Like
Mm-mm.
everybody is there for the same purpose of like just loving video games and celebrating that.
Yeah.
And yeah, raising money for charity too. Why
Hell yeah.
not?
Hell yeah. We love that. All right. Well, I could probably talk to you all day long
Whoops,
and
yeah.
it's not a bad thing. You have so many good things to
Yeah.
say. And
Thank you. You too.
if you are at SGDQ, I think we should do another one of these like in person, just very
Yeah, I'm
chill
down.
because that would be so fun.
I love talking about speedrunning.
Yeah. Do you have anything you want to plug? Anything you want to like promote?
Yeah, sure. So today I just found out I was also accepted to the Shots Fired Marathon, which was technically the first marathon I've ever performed for. It's a really cool and chill online marathon that happens once a year, and I always try and partake if I can. And I don't remember the exact dates for that, but just Google Shots Fired Marathon and it should come up. But besides that, uh, yeah, I guess if you want to check me out, just Google CovertMuffin. That's probably the best way because then all my GDQ runs and stuff will pop up. But if you want to watch my streams, twitch.tv/covert_muffin. Don't spell it the entire word underscore. It is the symbol between the two names. Okay. And then on Twitter and stuff, I'm Covert Muffin. But I usually just use Twitter to like shout out events and stuff that I'm doing and retweet memes.
That's a smart, very balanced way to use Twitter at this point because it is otherwise a shit show. But I will put all of those links down below in the description box. Thank you so much again for doing this. This was a blast. It was so good. And yeah, we'll do this again in person at some point. But thanks again. All right.
Awesome. Good night, everybody.